From Hong Kong, Chicago, and the city of Stoke-on-Trent, this is the Classic Lenses podcast. Hello and welcome to episode 136. My name is Simon Forster and I'm joined by Johnny Sisson and Perry G. Hello, Johnny.
Good morning.
And hello, Perry.
Yeah, hello.
That's it. We've managed to get onto a podcast 2 weeks on the trot. I think that's like, well done us. So well done, Perry. Well done, Johnny. This is going to be hopefully the last of our email catch-up podcasts, and then we're going to try and actually possibly even have a guest or something next week. So we'll see how we get through. So it's part 3 of the trilogy of emails. But before we do some of our emails, let's have a pretty brief catch-up as to where we've all been and what we've been doing or not. So Perry, what's been happening on the Hong Kong scene?
I'm currently sipping on the world's most satisfying and most refreshing glass of water. But apart from that, I still haven't gone shooting. I'm going to try to do it the Saturday morning before I go back to work. But I've ordered a bunch of film a while ago because there was like a bulk discount. And then I totally forgot about it because all the mail and everything internationally is being delayed because COVID. And it arrived last week, and so now I have 60 rolls of film, having not shot in a while. So that's now just occupying my fridge. But it's nice because I know that's going to last me. You know, I went through this spell through the kind of middle of all of this craziness where I was shooting like 2-3 rolls a week because I wasn't going to work or anything. And I kept running out of film. And so when this chance popped up to buy a crap ton, I jumped on it. But now I'm so busy with work, I have no time to shoot. And it's like a paradox, you know? That's all. I still haven't bought Pixar. I haven't done anything else. I'm just drinking water and really enjoying how refreshing this is.
So, what's the date now? Where's my cursor gone to give me a date? The 19th of November. So we're now halfway through November. This is actually effectively 3/4 of the way through your No Nuts November period of time. Have you started making lists of things that for when the day comes you can start and hit eBay and go down to the little garden and things like that?
Well, wait. No, we established that I'm allowed to buy accessories, right? I'm waiting for a little garden to make a couple of things for me so I can adapt a couple of these lenses that I've got kicking around. But the goal was to not buy anything until the end of the year, so there's still a ways to go.
Oh, right. I'd forgotten about that. I was thinking, no, he can't possibly be that ambitious.
No, because No Nut November started way before November. It's going to continue well beyond November, right? Wow. It's like, for a lot of the world, we're still in March right now, so that's just the way things are going this year. Having said that, I haven't really felt the urge to buy anything, although there's currently this pretty reasonably priced Rodenstock 35 2.8 Kilogon on eBay, which is the only lens I was going to let myself buy. So I'm kind of eyeing that, thinking, this is within the price range that I'm willing to pay, but slightly unsure of the condition from the description. So I'm just eyeing it and trying to make it, trying to restrain myself a little bit. And, my favorite shop, Photopia here, has been having both an autumn sale and an autumn sale part 2. So that's requiring incredible restraint. But, having said all of that, right, I wonder if now, given that I haven't done Jack in weeks, I wonder if now is a good time to reveal why I'm doing No Nut November in the first place. Because you guys know, but I've held off on revealing that for a couple of months now, I think. Should I do it?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so the reason I am doing this No Nut November, a lot of people know this already because I've been posting stuff on Instagram, is I bought something immediately after our episode with Dan Tamarkin. You probably see where this is going. And after I bought said thing, I was like, oh man, did I really just buy one of these? I really got to stop buying stuff. And so I told myself, okay, this is gonna be my last purchase for 2020. And so, in front of me, I have the last thing I bought, and this is 100%. No, this is 99% Dan Tamarkin's fault and 1% Johnny's fault. So I have in front of me a Leica MP black paint, and I mean, this thing is sweet. But after that episode with Dan Tamarkin, when he was gushing all things Leica, I was just gassing so hard for a black paint Leica MP, and he had one, and I was really tempted to go through him to buy it. And literally the next day, one of these popped up for sale locally from a guy I've bought from before, really nice guy, very trustworthy seller. And he was getting rid of his MP because he was moving to a new place. And Hong Kong, as you know, is the most expensive real estate market on the planet by some distance. So he's getting rid of a bunch of, things that could help him finance the move. So we met up, and the real tipping point was I was unsure about this because, every Leica is kind of the same. But I lust after one of these. So I asked Johnny, because I know that if Johnny thinks something is a kind of expensive, flashy piece of crap, he's gonna tell it to me straight. So I was like, so what's your opinion of the Leica MP? And Johnny, do you remember what you said? I asked you for your honest opinion on the Leica MP.
I'm thinking I probably would have said it's the nicest mechanical Leica ever built.
Yeah, Dad, that's exactly what you said. You said it's the best camera they've ever made.
Yeah.
By some distance. And I was like, that's what I thought. Because I have played with them. But I was expecting you to crap all over it because it's
I don't even think there's any contest. To me, it's far superior to the M6. So
yeah. So I've for sure. But I mean, but why do you say that? Just out of curiosity.
I think I don't know. I mean, it's current production, right? Mm-hmm. I think they're still they're still producing. It's like the mechanical camera they still build.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the M6s, they stopped making those almost 20 years ago, something like that. Mm-hmm. Coming out of the 90s or whatever. I don't know. I just I just assume it's probably innovation wise the better built camera internally. I mean, there's what is it doesn't have a battery, right?
It does. It has a meter.
It does. Okay.
Yeah.
Did they fix the stupid battery setup on the M6? Right. I'm trying to think back to the last time I had one in my hand.
It's pretty similar. I mean, you told me the Leica rep that you had over at Central Camera told you in no uncertain terms that this was like the best camera they ever made.
He did, yeah.
As well.
Yeah. So, yeah. But I don't know. I don't know if the viewfinder is I don't know. It seems like there's it's subtly a notch better to me than the M6 in a lot of ways. And the M6 has a couple of weird things on it that I think are kind of annoying.
Could we just take a step back there a second, half a minute? This is a camera that's still in production by Leica, and the Leica rep said it's the best Leica.
Yeah, but he's the kind of guy who would say if something is shit, he's like he has no problem saying it's shit.
Yeah.
So I take his statement to be, especially to us personally, and not speaking to a customer, he is a completely unbiased statement. I mean, he goes there, he knows what they're doing production wise.
I get it. A completely unbiased Leica salesman. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he has no reason he has no need to sell us on the Leica MP at the camera shop. Yeah. So now does he try really hard to what's the big digital monster they make? That's an oversized Sony. He tries to sell that up.
SL.
Yeah, the SL, which is just a joke. I mean, it's just a joke.
You say that, but I think that camera is ridiculous as well. But everyone I know here who has an SL or an SL2, absolutely raves about.
Yeah.
Of course they do, because they've bought an overpriced, oversized piece of Leica-ness.
No, but
is
these are people who have.
unjustifiable by any human means. It is an unjustifiable camera. So I have no doubt they do.
I agree with you. I think that camera is absurd. But I mean, a couple of my friends who have, absurd numbers of cameras, and so don't have a particular reason to to brand defend, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Seem to really like that thing.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I think it goes with the territory. I think when you own a Rolls Royce, there's you have no incentive not to think you made a good purchase. So,
yeah, that's fair enough.
I don't know. I don't buy into the SL at all. So he talks about that camera because he's got to sell them, but he doesn't really need to sell MPs.
No, they sell themselves.
They sell themselves, right? It's not a camera that he has to try to sell. Anybody who wants one's going to get one. They're as probably as craftsman like a piece of machinery that they've ever built at this point, because they do so many other things.
Well, the other big question is what's the advanced lever like?
Yo, dude, this thing is so freaking sweet. So first of all, just to build on Johnny's point there, the MP, I've wanted one for ages and I've held off buying one, right? And as we discussed with Tamarkin, there's a global MP shortage. And I saw a used one in Hong Kong listed before that episode for like $2,000 more than I paid for this one. And it went like that. So people are out there hunting for these things, The advanced lever is the best. It's so freaking smooth. It's insane.
I was thinking about the shape of it, but I can see...
It's the correct advanced lever.
Yeah, it's the correct shape. That's okay.
Oh yeah, it's the right one. This is spectacular. I mean, the only thing I would change about it would be the frame lines. I would get rid of the 75mm frame line. But this is so freaking sweet, man. I mean, it's small things. It's hard to explain, but like the viewfinder, the MP viewfinder has this new anti-glare thing,
right?
And so it doesn't. It's really not susceptible to flare. Though not like the M6 and others are that susceptible to flare, but under the right light at the right angle, they can give you a bit of ghosting. None of that with this. Obviously, it's black paint, which is the best, and every Leica feels different. Like my M4, my M2, my M3, they all feel different, even though they have the same shaped lever. Because I switched the one in my M4, but every little thing on this just feels better made. Yeah. The advanced lever feels better made. The shutter speed dial feels nicer. The rewind feels better than on my M2 and M3. Like it doesn't get tight the same way that they do. The bottom, it latches on more perfectly and just like clicks in place more perfectly. The meter LEDs, when I'm using them, are nowhere near as obnoxious as on the M6.
Where's the battery cover cap?
No, it's the same as the M6. It's this thing.
It is the same, right? Okay.
Yeah, but that means there's no self-timer. But the finish is much nicer.
It doesn't have the stupid bumpers on the side either, does it? Does it have the little rubber bumper thingies on the edges?
Oh,
not rubber. The finish is different, and I know the original MP. This one, because it's secondhand, didn't come with it, but the original comes with two different covers. And so you can kind of choose the style you'd like.
I think John is talking about where the
little anti-rub bumpers by the strap lugs.
Yeah. Oh no, you mean those things that break off? No, they're not.
Yeah, they got rid of those. That bullshit.
Yeah, no, it's proper.
Right.
Like this thing is built like.
And that's what I mean is it's a cumulative, like set of little tiny. Call them upgrades or refinements or whatever, that taken as a whole, it does have a different feeling when you hold it. And it has a slightly different look to me through the viewfinder.
It does? Yeah, and it's not that heavy.
Right.
But the other thing is the shutter is orders of magnitude quieter than all my other Leica Ms.
Right, yes. Which is basically what all of these little things are. When I talk to the Leica rep, which he more or less mention several of these things as well and mention the shutter, and he's right. I mean, you guys, like, it's, to me, it's inarguable. It's just, it is what it is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And it's got, I mean, there's just so many little touches, you know. They went back to the M2 M3 style frame line preview and rewind button, which is the best kind. Like on the M4 and M6, they have those rectangular edges and feel kind of cheap.
Yeah.
There's no red dot. Instead, there's the screw that you can take out for rangefinder adjustment. And then the lens release button has the little collar around it, which some of the earlier models don't.
Right.
Yeah, just, you're right. It's all the little touches that just come together and makes the thing, you know, the P stands for perfection, right? It's just perfect.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like one of those things where you just give them credit for knowing their own products so well and the history of their own products so well that they did all those little things, right? And it all kind of makes sense. I mean, to me, they could, like, basically never need to engineer and build a different camera than that. And I mean, in all honesty, they probably won't. It may be the last mechanical camera they ever build, and they may be building it, you know, I would think hopefully in perpetuity, but who knows? But to me, it's quite obviously the apex of all the cameras that they've built up to this time, you know, without it's like they don't even need to brag that. It is what it is. That's what they did, and that's what it is. And people who want it will just get it. You know, they don't have to sell it to anybody.
Exactly. I mean, they can't make them fast enough to meet the demand. So, you know, I was skeptical, but I've always lusted after one of these. But when people talk about, you know, the Blackpaint MP, but now that I've got one, it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it. And Blackpaint's nice.
Yeah.
So now you can sell all your other cameras. And you're done.
I think if I had to sell everything else, I think without question, I mean, I'm gonna keep this, and it's fine with this lens, the 35 Super.
I've got to say, it looks just like my X Pro 1, which I think is a fine looking camera. You know, I mean, when you held it up first, I thought, he's got a Fuji.
Right. The Leica MP looks like the X Pro 1.
Right.
It looks like the X100T.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which
is the same way. Go on.
I was going to say, which is actually still a disappointing camera, but there you go.
Same way that you look just like your son.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. That's why we were doing No Nut November. Very pleased with this thing.
That makes sense.
Actually, I've just got one other thing to say about this camera. So I'm looking at a picture of one now, and to me it's just like a very streamlined version of an M2. And I've just spotted here that the film rewind isn't canted over like it is on the on the M6. They went back to doing it before. Is there a reason for that? Did they just get it wrong?
It's better.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
It's also that rewind is not that cheap ass flimsy thing that they have on the M6, right? Which gets bent. I mean, I've seen so many of those things that are bent, and they get dinged really easy. It's like it sticks out on the camera just enough that everybody dings it on something, and then it doesn't work right. I mean, the M6 is, to me, highly overrated camera. I'm just saying, no, it's not overrated. It's the hype around it is overrated, that everybody wanted an M6. And then, you know what? All these son of a bitches would come into the camera shop. Oh, do you have an M6? Do you have an M6? Like, yeah, we have an M6. Like, oh, that's nice. Like, nobody is ever intending to actually buy one who says they want an M6. Everybody's full of shit. So, anyway, and this wouldn't even be on their radar. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the M6 is one of the most functional Leicas. I love mine, but if you want to get a Leica that the prices are absurd now, but it's the one that kind of does everything and still feels like a Leica. But the reason, Simon, why this knob is better, in my view, apart from, you know, Johnny's right, they bend really easily on the M4, M6 and stuff. But this one, when you're rewinding with the other style knob, I find it's pretty easy to kind of lose your grip on the little tip. And if you lose your grip, it just starts spinning backwards, and that's really irritating. Whereas this, it doesn't; it stays in place.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the real charm. Plus, it looks better because you have just like it fits perfectly with the profile of the camera, unlike the diagonal one, which kind of sticks out as a weird edge.
Yeah, it's more X Pro One like, definitely for that detail there. Okay. Are we done with rangefinders now? Can we go somewhere else?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on that note, let's head over to Chicago and see what Johnny's been up to.
I definitely have not been buying MPs. All I can tell you. I have not bought anything camera related since early in the summer, when on a whim, me and Robbie were talking about I think it was it on, I can't remember who had it on eBay, but I know who it was, that local seller I bought from, who had a Scoper X 35 millimeter for the Icarex mount. She had one for like $100, and I bought it on a whim and have not even come close to putting it on a camera. So I have not bought anything since then, camera wise, and have no intention to buy anything camera wise at this point. So, so I have nothing new to talk about camera wise.
How's things in Chicago? I mean, where I am, it's pretty much locked down again. I mean, are you able, if you wish to, are you able to freely go out and take pictures and things?
Sure, if I want to die, yeah, I could go out and take pictures. The case positivity rate is over almost 18% here.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like you go out and 1 in 15 people has COVID.
Yeah. But it is possible to go outside and avoid people and take photos.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I could. I was out a weekend ago. I did a 22-mile bike ride. So yeah, I can get out. It's no problem. Yeah. Just have to avoid everybody.
Yeah.
So you know what's funny? Our COVID rate here in Hong Kong has been pretty low, kind of low double digits for the last couple of months. I think we had 2 local cases yesterday. But there were a bunch of outbreaks of the common cold in the kindergartens, and the government decided to shut down the kindergartens.
Holy crap. We
were like, what the fuck?
Wow. Well, the schools have never opened here this year, and they're this public schools, they're saying they're going to open in, I think, April or March, they said, or
damn
after that. Well, maybe they said sometime after the new. Anyway, they're pie in the sky planning right now. It's not going to happen. Not with the mayor doing it's not a shutdown. It's a request. It's another pointless request that people behave themselves, which is working out just fantastically everywhere in Don't Tell Me What to Do, America. So yeah, anyway, we're totally screwed. we're just the long and short of it is we're completely screwed, and nobody can do anything about it at this point.
You know, for everything about how screwed up it is here in Hong Kong, and it's everything other than COVID is totally screwed up here. When I have conversations about the situation with people, the one recurring theme is, could be worse. We could be living in America.
Yeah, totally.
But at least your president has taken these, I don't know, the last 60 plus days of his presidency. He's taken it very, very seriously and working really hard on COVID and things like that, I believe. Yeah,
he's working hard on that, and smooth transition of power, and supposedly the world's greatest democracy. And it's all good. Everything's wonderful. Everything's wonderful here. I'm just looking at Perry holding up a box of film news head. I did take a photo, I think, middle of last week, maybe. I actually took a photo. So there's that.
Did you do it on a classic lens?
I did. on a classic camera, no less. Classic lens on a classic camera. Yeah.
Wait, you took one photo? Were you shooting large format?
Well, I mean, I took probably 5 photos of the same thing, so I count it all as one photo. You know. So, but I did expose frames of film sometime within the past month.
Are you going to tell us what lens you used?
I don't think I remember what it was. Oh no, I know what it was. It was the Batman Bessa, and it was the 35 2.5 scope R.
Why do you use that over the Canon?
Because it's smaller. I don't know. Because I just felt like leaving it on the camera. It's smaller and lighter. I don't know. I don't have a good answer. I just left it on the camera because it was on the camera, and it's a lens I feel like I should use more. So it's on the camera. So that's my only excuse for using it. So it's a fine lens.
Flavor of the day.
Yeah.
Well, I've tried about 3 occasions to go out into the garden to take photos, and I failed miserably. I mean, I've gone out there with either a Petri Kurubayashi Oracle 50f2 on the Sony, and I've been into the garden with using the Fuji X Pro 1 with a lens that I've been waiting to use on that because it's something that Perry has sent over to me, and that's the Olympus Pen 40mm f1.4. I've waited to use that one of those for so long, and I just really want to use it on that camera, and it feels right on that camera as well. I mean, I've said it a few times about I like to use lenses that are matched with the sensor size, and that's exactly what that does with that Fuji, because it's a half frame lens. But I seem to have discovered that I go out into the garden now, and really that means I'm gonna go out and take bokeh shots. That's the only reason why I would go venture into the garden with a lens, and I'm really struggling to get bokeh shots at the moment. I'm thinking, it's as if like something's like my brain's been rewired. Because it used to be that I'd put a lens on, run out into the garden as long as it's not windy, and then come back with a bokeh shot that I'll be quite happy with. And at the moment, I'm just struggling to get anything that interests me that I like. I don't know if I'm just bokeh out or not. I don't know.
Yo, one thing that I do when I'm trying to test lens bokeh, that's not sort of a traditional bokeh shot, is don't go out in the garden or like use the great outdoors for bokeh, but find something like really brightly lit, like a bunch of random lights inside, or even your laptop screen. My favorite is your laptop screen with a picture of trees blown up on it. You get some mad bokeh, and then hold it really close. Hold the lens really close up to your subject.
So this picture of trees in the background, so that it's literally just regular trees, or the trees out of focus slightly, or
No. So it's regular trees. Usually it's shot like up. I like the pictures of trees where the camera is looking up, so the trees are kind of you see them going away from you rather than from eye level.
Yeah.
And they're kind of converging in the middle, and then I bokeh that. And it looks really cool.
Perry, you need to share this tree image into the Facebook group.
You know that video I shot of the turtle dancing to Khalees's milkshake?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that was that background.
Yeah, but you need to. No, I think you should share it into our Facebook group and let people then use it for their bokeh shots, and just see what people actually do with that background with various lenses, because that could be it's not we don't do challenges and things, but I think that's something that I think people might find interesting to do.
Okay, it's from a BBC article. I will share it.
It's not your photo.
No, I put it on my screen. And why would I use my own photo for bokeh? You can just use anything, right?
Well, yeah.
No, I literally just Googled trees and picked a picture, and that I chose the best one. So anyway, right. I've sent it in our chat. You can see which picture I'm talking about. Okay. So I just blow that up, fill the screen with it, and then make it out of focus.
That is a great idea. I've often thought that a great new way to do photography would just be to use Google Earth, and you could just go anywhere and just pull it up on your screen and just do a street view picture. Just take pictures off your screen, off of Street View, and then you don't have to go out of the house ever. Yeah,
and then turn them into bokeh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The other thing that makes it look cool is because it's on your screen, it's backlit as well, so it's like light bokeh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, give it a shot. It's good stuff.
Yeah. On-screen bokeh is the best bokeh.
Yeah. Well, apart from not taking many photographs or failing to take photographs, I have actually bought some stuff. The only problem is I can't really talk that much about it because it hasn't arrived yet, because it's in a different country. And it's going to be probably about 2 weeks before I get it. But I'm really excited about some of the stuff. I mean, this is technically stuff that I bought to sell, which I've hardly sold any camera equipment now for about 6 months. So I really need to start letting some of this stuff go. But in particular, it's a Mamiya C330 camera. But the particularly interesting part about it is that it's got the Mamiya 105 3.5 lens on it, which is a Heliar. Which so that makes us all very, very excited. So I'm looking forward to giving that one a go. And really, the rest of my time, I've just been making more and more lens caps. Not necessarily for rear lens caps, but front lens caps. And the latest one that went out was somebody got in touch with me and asked me, can I make a lens cap for a Ricoflex 7 TLR? And yes, as long as I've got the dimensions that I require, I can pretty much make a lens cap for anything, I think. And that was one of them. So that's quite an interesting camera, because it's again, it's a TLR, but it's one of those TLRs that uses gears between the two lenses. So you focus one lens by turning that lens, and that in turn focuses the viewing lens. I assume it actually, I'm not sure which one's dominant actually. Actually, it'll be the Perry's just showing the picture of his constructor lens, one of those cameras, one of those things that you make yourself, that uses the same principle.
That's right.
Yeah, so that was a fun little project. So that seems to be where I'm headed at the moment, making lens caps for weird and wonderful things. And I think that's pretty much the three of us done, I think.
Oh, do you still I didn't send you. I got to find my vernier, but do you still need measurements of Rolleiflexes, Simon?
I certainly do.
Oh, I got to send those to you today. I meant to do that.
Yeah, we'll have a chat about those. And,
excellent.
So I know exactly what I need to make those things happen. So that'll be cool. Right then. So shall we get back into part 3 of our listener emails trilogy? We've had some really good emails over the last 2 episodes, and we've got some good ones as well this time round. So are you ready for this, Johnny?
I believe so, yes.
Excellent.
And we're actually going to talk about, it appears we're going to talk about lenses.
Yes.
Again. Because our first email, let me see here. Let me make sure I got this right. I think I had it in there twice. I did. Okay. Because we have an email from Dominic Samuel from, we don't know from where yet. Yes, we do. Anyway, subject, Pentax feedback. And and it just says Dominic from Germany, smiley face. So he says, hello, peeps from the Classic Lenses podcast. After listening to like 75 episodes of your podcast and very much liking the dynamic between different Englishes, I do feel you still did not do justice to the Pentax lenses enough. So now he's going to talk about some lenses. So non-vanilla Pentax lenses are M42, Auto Takumar 35mm 2.3, Takumar 58mm f2 sonar, Takumar 58mm f2.4 Heliar, Takumar 83 1.9. So that's his first batch. He continues. The Takumar 1.4 Takumars of any flavor with a U. The 15mm lens made with Zeiss in cooperation. The 35mm 3.5. The fast 35mm f2. The 135 is super nice, but does not overshine the others. The super tele lenses were always very nice, but hard to shoot. The 85 1.9 also has fairy dust, Ferry. So I'm guessing that's Brian Ferry. Brian Ferry.
Or someone just lost their lens on a boat.
Yeah, fairy. It has fairy dust. It has Bodie McBoatface dust, or whatever his name is. The PK system. He's continuing on now. The Pentax Holy Trinity Legacy Limited Series 31 millimeter f1.8 43 f1.9 77 f1.8 consists purely of Brian Ferry dust, and they all have a unique and special rendering. The f1.2 50 millimeter, the SMCK 28 millimeter 2 f2, also made with Zeiss and the Japanese Distagon, let alone medium format. He's continuing. The 645 lenses 35 millimeter 120 macro do really shine. In 6.7 system, both lenses, the 105, the 45, 55, 75, 135, and 300 do really shine. But please don't mention Pentax in the show and drive prices up. Kind regards, Dominic. I have no arguments with anything he has said.
No.
So PK is a profanity in Cantonese, just by the way.
Yeah, I have no issue with anything he said here. That's whatsoever.
Yeah. Although, as far as the PK lenses go, can we talk for a second about how weird it is that they made the 43 f1.9 in a special edition rangefinder coupled version?
Oh yeah,
that lens is bizarre, and I don't understand why it exists.
But I'd take one if I could get one.
Yeah. People go nuts over it, but like it's massive.
Yeah,
because it's an SLR lens that they stuck rangefinder coupling on or whatever. I mean, it's a really good lens. It's a fantastic lens, but that particular limited edition just makes me scratch my head a little.
What's going on with that limited lens thing? Because you got a 31, a 43, and a 77. I mean, what's going on there? Any ideas?
I think they didn't round their numbers because they want to be different.
Right.
Well,
basically, yeah.
Well, yeah, you say that, but I mean, the 31 millimeters, if you rounded that, it'd be a 30, and that'd still be a bit odd.
I think there was I thought I read something somewhere about the 43 millimeter was designed to be the like field of view perfection lens, essentially. Right.
Because 43 because 43 is the diagonal of a 35 millimeter frame, so it's technically like a proper normal where the focal length is the same as the diagonal.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that carries through with the rest of the line as well. Like that's why they have these twee numbers on them, is because they tweak the focal lengths like just slightly for whatever reason, and left the numbers that way. So,
but for it to be the like platonic form of a normal lens, you would have to have it on a Pentax K camera where the magnification of the viewfinder makes it so that when you have the 43 millimeter lens on, it's 1:1.
Yeah.
Then you have perfection. I don't know if that's actually the case on any of the cameras, but people with Pentax K lenses go verify that.
Yeah. That was my understanding of it as well. That was the big draw. I mean, they seem to be really nice. I mean, I've never used one. They seem to be really nice though.
I think Hamish Gill's got 2 of those 3. I think he quite
does
likes
he?
them as well. Yeah, I think so.
He's been on a Pentax Bender.
Yeah, but it's finished now because he's discovered Contax Yashica.
Oh yeah, right, of course.
Yeah. So good on him. He's finally got there.
I would just give a shout on this list from Dominic in particular. The early Takumars, so the Auto Tak 35-23, and then those 258s, and then the 83 1.9. I think I think the Novak has the 83 1.9, but that is a lens I would really dearly love to have. I have the 85 1.9 is the one fast portrait lens that I have from out of that group, which is not the 85 1.8. They are two different lenses, but I don't know. I can't tell the difference between them, and I don't ever shoot it anyway, but it's the one 85 millimeter lens that I own in portrait range for SLR that I own just because I want to have one that I can put on pretty much any camera. I can put it on a Minolta, I can put it on a digital, whatever. So I keep it. I don't ever use it, but I have it. And it's the one that I hang on to. But I would love to have that 83 1.9 if I could find it somewhere.
That lens has gotten expensive, and it's so nice.
Yeah. All those really early Takumars, I think, are really special. And then the other one I was going to say is I think we've talked about this, but the Pentax 6.7 system is worth owning if the 105 lens was the only lens that existed for that camera. It would be enough to own that justify that entire system to exist, is my opinion. So.
Yeah, that's the only lens I have for that system, and it's probably the only one I will have.
Yeah. It's just a complete one-off. So, but yeah, no, it's a great list, and I fully endorse everything he said there.
Yeah, even I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Okay, moving on from Brian Fairy Dust, we will go to. We did Baz, right? Yes, we did Baz. Okay, that's why I had it in bold. Oh, we have Nick Marshall. Nick Marshall sent us an email. He said, subject, Mamiya, continuing here with lenses. Mamiya Press 100 f2.8 lens in episode number 132. Very specific. Hi, Simon, Johnny, and Perry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think the Mamiya Press 100mm f2.8 will cover 4x5 film. All the Mamiya Press lenses cover 6x9. Some cover instant pack film, 3x4 inches, and a small number cover 4x5. The 100mm f2.8 vignettes noticeably in the corners on pack film. One of your linked articles shows examples, or can you see some of you? Or you can see some of mine on my Flickr thread here. You can check for vignetting or coverage with any camera/lens combo by placing your eye in the corner of the film frame and looking through the lens. If the opening is more than half blocked off, you'll get significant vignetting. If you can't see through the lens at all, the corners will be black. Many large format cameras have the corners of the ground glass clipped so that you can use this technique. There is also a good way to check if a lens hood will cover vignetting. This is also a good way to check that. Sometimes people remove those lenses from the helicoids to mount them on lens boards, but the cable release and flash sync socket are not mounted directly on the shutters. So keep that in mind if you try this. Cheers, Nick Marshall.
Right, well, he's clearly referring to when I was talking about attempting to put this lens on the 100 2.8, which is pretty much a legendary lens in its own right. And I think I have actually spoke about this on the show. I've certainly spoke about it on the Large Format Photography podcast, because since talking about it, I have done it. Interestingly enough, I did it without splitting the helicoid, so I just kept the thing in one piece and built an adapter onto the lens board, so it would go onto, because at the end of the day I make lens and body cap, so I just made took my to my lens cap design and then made a lens board from that. if you like. So it was integrated. So it went on there really well onto a 4x5 camera. And the photograph that I took had a completely black background, and it was an illuminated people, and which meant that you couldn't actually see any vignetting anyway, which sort of was one of the reasons why I actually did it, was to see about how bad the vignetting was. So I took photographs where it was impossible to see the vignetting. So that was really clever. The best part about it is it's just beautiful to look through. On directly through the ground glass, which is something you don't get to see that very often. There are some versions of the Mamiya press cameras where you can actually put a ground glass screen onto them as well. So a few people will be able to use them that way, like a view camera. But generally speaking, you don't get to see directly through one of those things in the same way as you don't normally get to see through an LTM lens unless you adapt it to mirrorless. So yeah, I'm absolutely certain that Nick is right, but yeah, fortunately I found a way to actually use it to good effect. But yeah, it's probably something I probably won't do again.
I clicked on the Flickr link in the email, and some of the pictures shot on instant pack film look really cool.
Cool. So yep, thank you for that one, Nick. So next one.
Next one is from Fru's Books. He says, hello. Okay, next email after that one. Miles Libick. Subject, looking for permission to leave the world of Leica. Ooh, this could be interesting, huh? Okay. Dearest comrades at CLP, 3 years ago I left the world of SLRs and cheap film cameras for the irredeemably wonderful world of Leica. It started with an M3 and a dual-range Summicron, and now have a host of older film M's and depreciated digital bodies, as well as some older Leica glass, some first-gen spherical, and lots of Nikkor LTMs. I feel that my bougie taste for Leica and teacher salary needs to be forever separated. And I enjoy my work too much to consider a move to dentistry. I've long considered narrowing down my Leica collection to one film body and one lens, but worry that I'll forever be looking at the greener pastures and dying of gas. The cold turkey route seems almost necessary. I'm having daydreams about buying back a GR3 with a Brightline viewfinder, sticking to a 6x9 folder for film, and tracking down a fully depreciated Nikon DSLR for scanning needs and occasional cheap lens gas bout. Thoughts and wisdom, regards, Miles. I don't know where Miles is writing us from, but it just all depends on where you work. I think if you work in having a .edu email address or being a dentist are both excellent qualifications for owning anything like a.
Yeah. So, it's fairly bougie.
Yeah. So I don't know where he's writing us from, because he was writing us from somewhere in the U.S. working, let's say, as a high school math teacher in a teachers union somewhere. He'd be doing just fine, and he'd be able to afford that.
Yeah, if you were a teacher here, he'd be totally fine.
Yeah, but point taken.
No, he's nuts. What are you talking about? You're nuts, Miles. You're crazy. You want to get a GR3? Look. Let me speak directly to you, Miles. Man, you're worried about the kind of financial investment in all of this, first of all, and the shooting experience, right? The GR3 is going to depreciate like nuts as soon as you buy it. Your Leicas are going to go up in price because the supply is fixed and the demand is going up. So hang on to them. At least hang on to one and one body. Don't get a GR3. That thing is annoying as hell. Get a GR2.
Yeah.
Because it is much better bang for your buck, and it's a better camera because the ergonomics are not stupid like the GR3.
Yeah, they totally ruined the GR3.
they put the grip too close to the lens. So
they did. They ruined the entire ethos of the whole. I mean, how can you take the one thing that makes that camera interesting and just trash it? That's what they did.
And I'm not trashing the GR. The Ricoh GR is my favorite digital camera of all time.
Yeah.
The GR2, the GR1, the GR3 is just
they ruined it.
So good. They ruined it. They completely ruined it.
Yeah.
So no, don't get a GR3. Get a GR2 with a bright line viewfinder. That is a very nice setup, and that's not going to cost you that much, right? 6x9 folder, whatever. Look, I met up with an old friend a couple of years ago, and we hadn't seen each other for ages, and we'd kind of known each other at school about 10 years ago. And when I met up with him, it'd been almost a decade since I've seen him properly, and we were catching up, and I said to him, man, you've been through a lot. And this guy had been through a lot in his life, like a lot, loss, tragedy, upheaval, you name it. And I asked him, after all this time, man, what's your biggest regret in life? Without hesitation, he said, selling my M2. Don't do it, man.
Well, there's another thing in there that Miles seems to be doing a lot wrong. So I'm really, really pleased that you've got in touch with us, because we're saving you money with the not buying a GR3. Perry's not said anything about the 6x9 folder yet. I think he knows better not to have a go at 6x9 folders anymore. So he's going to be quiet on that one.
No, I think Barry, you gave an approving nod to that. Did you not?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Keep 6x9 folder. What difference does it make if you have one or don't have one, right?
Right.
Don't get rid of it.
Use it.
No, you can use it. You can have it. I don't think it makes a difference in this conversation.
Right.
But I mean, if your only film camera is a 6x9 folder, you're nuts.
Yeah. Well,
as well.
They're great for rustic photos, as you've said before.
But I don't understand his problem. He already has
multiple film M's.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Plenty of glass.
So is he just feeling? Is this like liberal guilt that he owns it? He's talking about being bougie. Is just liberal guilt
right?
To own it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. This is like, I knew this girl in college, and she had I hope none of my old classmates listen to this show, by the way. But I knew this girl, because they know who I'm talking about if they're listening. But I knew this girl in college, and she was this white girl, and she was really racked with white guilt constantly, to the point where if we went to the supermarket, she would find the cracker aisle and stand underneath the sign that said crackers, and make you take selfies of her. So anyway, that's unrelated. There's no good reason, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Okay, well, the final point on here that you really need some help with is that you're talking about getting a Nikon DSLR for scanning needs and an occasional cheap lens gasp out. Why a Nikon DSLR for those two things?
The two things they are most unsuited to doing.
The worst possible camera for both of those purposes.
Yeah, exactly.
If you wish to use cheap lenses on a camera and have some freedom, it's a mirrorless something. Whether that be a crop sensor, full frame, doesn't matter. If you wish to do anything with cheap lenses, you need a mirrorless. Otherwise, you're going to be massively restricted, especially with a Nikon DSLR. And secondly, if you're going to use a camera for scanning, again, it's difficult to beat a mirrorless camera because of the magnifying function. Although you can use live view on a DSLR if an older DSLR has got that, but it's not the same as using magnification through an EVF. It just can't compete. So buy a mirrorless. Just get whichever one you like, but no, don't do the Nikon DSLR route.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Yeah. Well, he did open his email saying "Dearest comrades," so I'm thinking he's definitely talking about bouginess. So he's definitely having some moral issues, but I don't think you need to extend them to your cameras.
Right, and if you are feeling the commie pull, just go get yourself some Soviet cameras.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, get yourself some garbage Soviet cameras, and you'll be happy. Yeah. You can put your really nice Nukkar LTMs on them, even.
Exactly.
Yeah, go get a Zorky 4 and put a Nukkar LTM on it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, 100% legit. Okay. Okay. We have another email from did we? I guess we didn't read this from JD Wagner. I don't think we read this. I feel like we did, but maybe we didn't. But we'll read it again because it's short. Hey guys, love the latest podcast, which I listened to immediately. I missed it during your breaks. So thanks for answering my questions about the number of people shooting film. Give you a shout out in my latest newsletter below. All the best, JD Wagner. Of course, he is the official rod maker / rod man of Classic Lenses podcast.
Johnny, how is your? So I obviously before we started the show, I was reading this fishing and rod newsletter, and it's pretty cool. And thank you for the shout out, JD Wagner or JD Wagner. But how is your trout ID? How are your trout identification skills?
Me personally?
Mm-hmm.
Minimal. I mean, I can tell a rainbow from a brown.
I guess they're trout in the UK as well, right, Simon?
And a lake. I mean, I know a lake trout. A lake.
So there's a picture. Well, there's a picture of a trout, the third photograph in his newsletter, and it is a gorgeous looking trout. And I'm just trying to figure out what kind of trout that is, because it looks like it could be a brook trout, but it looks like it could also be a golden trout. It's got these.
I don't have the pictures in my copied into my text file, but
it's got these really interesting dots that are kind of red and blue.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah. They're with the red dots. That's really pretty. See, I couldn't. Yeah. That's why I can't do that, because I don't want to. I would never want to harm that fish.
Well, trout fishermen are really. I mean, if they're not keeping them to eat them, you can see he's got it in the water there.
Yeah, right.
And they're really, really particular about caring for the fish. I mean,
that's
on the one hand, most trout fisheries are stocked, right? So you don't need to feel that bad, because the vast majority of trout fisheries in North America are, they're stocked from hatcheries. So
right.
You're okay there as long as you follow the rules. But at the same time, with trout, the thing is, when you're handling them, you got to make sure you keep them in the water.
Yeah.
Because if you kind of pick them up with your hand and pull them out of the water, then their skin, you kind of remove the slime from their skin, and that can really screw with them.
Yeah.
So if you get them out of the water and you handle them, you really got to keep them and eat them, because they might not make it. So, I mean, you can see the way that he's caught this fish, and it's sitting in the water. He's handling it properly. Trout fishermen are the best, man. They got so much respect for the animals they're messing with.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's just like, I just have a problem. I just can't fish anymore.
No, fair enough. I mean, it is, but it is the world's greatest prank. Right? Like the fish thinks it's getting food, and then it gets pulled into a world that it cannot understand.
Right.
It's like,
yeah, but you're right about trout fishermen. They are the kind of the top of the top. They're the poets of the fishing world.
Mm-hmm. Especially ones that fly fish.
No doubt. That's what I'm saying. Like, fly fishermen are like the poets of the fishing world.
Mm-hmm.
So, his newsletter is beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, the rods are gorgeous too.
Wow, holy cow!
I really want to try fishing with a vintage rod now, because it's never. Oh,
well, I'm getting there. I feel more vintage every day, Perry. My rod, it still feels young though.
But you said you don't fish anymore.
Oh, we're talking about fishing.
Oh, you can fish with your rod. Give it a go.
My dad he just moved to Wisconsin, and when he was moving out of the house, I had a fly rod that I got when I was in high school, and I got a musky rod that was custom made for me. I did some back when I worked in printing. I did like a newsletter or something for this guy who. It was like a musky fisherman group, and I got a custom rod. I think the guy wanted to get it in my pants, quite honestly, looking back on it. But he made a custom musky rod, and it had my name on it and everything.
That's cool.
But I think I asked my dad to give him to my nephew, so because I'm not going to use him anyway. Hey, there's a squirrel. He's got a pet squirrel. JD does.
Named Gimpy.
Yeah, Gimpy the red squirrel. Look at that. That's awesome. Okay, with the bokeh, he bokeh his squirrel too.
Oh yeah, these are shot with vintage lenses for sure.
Yeah, he's got a bokeh squirrel. Okay. Anyway, we all highly recommend that you get JD's newsletter, even if you don't fish, because it's just well done.
Yeah, the pictures are nice.
Yeah, it's super nice. Okay, moving right along. We have Peter. I'm thinking that's Kosciani.
Yeah, that's how Anthony Rood told us to say it, at least anyway.
Oh, was it? Okay. All right. Your opinion on color film with a U. He must be from the UK or somewhere such.
Well, I think you'll find out in the next line.
Yeah, he's Australian. Yeah, okay. Hello, you pack of It's okay, as I'm Australian, so this is a term of endearment, and Simon will bleep out part of that because he spells it C and then a couple of characters that you can't read the word. So anyway, Simon will bleep that out to make it sound like the way it's written. By mid-January, my family take off on a road trip along one of Australia's and the world's great driving tourist roads, the Great Ocean Road. We have hired a burnt orange 1970s VW camper van, and we'll be living the simple life for 4 days. Given we will be traveling in style in the 70s vehicle, it makes complete sense that I only take 70s 35mm cameras. The Sonys will be staying home. That is a great concept. I really like this. I like where this is going. I want to shoot color film only to capture the colors of the sand, sky, and water, which will very rapidly change from light blue to dark ocean blue, especially when viewed from the clifftop vantage points along the route. We will also be traveling in the peak of summer, so the sun will be intense. I have asked elsewhere opinions on film choice, but would love to hear your opinions on which color film stock I should take as well. I'm very happy to take more than one camera and have film loaded for the middle of the day, another with film loaded for dawn/dusk, etc. Any thoughts would be most appreciated. Thanks, Peter Kosciani, Emmanuel College in Australia. So there's an at least one Emmanuel College in the Midwest. There's probably like 4 or 5 or 6 of them. There's probably 3 or 4 in Minnesota and 2 or 3 in Wisconsin. And they probably, I'm guessing, 1 or 2 in Iowa as well. So Emmanuel Colleges, I don't think it's a chain. It must be
Has that got something to do with the 70s film?
I was just noting on that he's from Emmanuel College, because if you're from the Midwest, like everybody who's a Lutheran went to an Emmanuel College somewhere.
But that's, that one's in Australia, right? Just a really common name.
I'm just wondering if there's like Australian Lutherans. If it's an Australian Lutheran college, I'm just curious.
Yeah, there was an Emmanuel College at University of Toronto where I went as well. I think they trained priests or something.
Was it a Lutheran?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Did they eat a lot of cheese?
I have no idea. I never went in there.
Okay. Okay. Anyway. Just noticed it because it's a big thing here in the Midwest. Wow, amazing trip he's got planned. That sounds incredible. I don't know. I would say whatever you do, shoot some slide film for sure, and then pick whatever print film.
I was going to say exactly on those lines. I thought you guys were going to go down the color negative routes, and I was going to.
You can, yeah.
Well, no, and then I was going to slip in. Well, you should be getting, I don't know, something like Ektachrome's back. You can get Ektachrome again now, so that could be one on. But more to the point, what could be more 70s than a camera enthusiast's trip back home with the family and the slideshow. I mean, that's got to be the way.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, 1970s color film, that would have been the Kodachrome era, right?
Yeah, Kodachrome, and also just standard color print film was getting very popular then as well. So just, I don't know, it would be just old school. I mean, if you really wanted that look, it would just be probably the cheapest, most generic color print film you can find would be on par with 70s color print film.
Expired film. So expired color film.
Yeah, although I don't know that I would trust expired color film on a vacation like that. I personally, just to get the vintage look, I would not go down that route.
He's probably better off with a kind of drugstore film like Kodak Color Plus or Fuji CU200 or something. Yeah,
and if you really want to make it look aged, just leave it on the dashboard the entire trip. Just I'm serious. Go to whatever drugstore color film they have and just leave it on the dashboard all the way along your route up here in Australia. And when you're done shooting the roll, just throw it back on the dashboard. And by the time you get that stuff processed, it'll look like 70s film.
Yeah. And I mean, given that he's talking about a lot of colorful landscapes with like sand, sky, water, and blues and dawn and dusk, I mean, that just screams slide film as well. You know?
Yeah, because I mean, it'll actually look like the colors that you shot on the trip, as opposed to print film, which just it'll look like something in color, but it won't. And plus, the other thing is you'll get all of the high. To me, I love the look of slide film in really high contrast light because it limits the exposure range is so limited that it's like shooting black and white but in color, because you get really good blacks. Even though you're talking like height of day, you get really, really good solid blacks. So I love slide film for landscape stuff. I mean, to me, that would be absolutely the way I'd go. And it would be really easy to meter for it too. So,
yeah. I think Ektachrome is probably the way to go.
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
Cool. And just worth noting, Peter is one of the moderators in Best Vintage Lens as well.
Oh, outstanding. I thought the name looked familiar. Yeah. Okay, Peter, happy trails. Have a good trip. That sounds wonderful.
Oh, man. I'm so envious that he gets to travel.
Yeah.
I know it was within his own country, but that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, next up we have James Cleveland. Subject, the era of webcam. And he says, Dearest Simon, Johnny, and Perry, with the pandemic raging, I'm finding myself talking to my colleagues through a webcam for many hours each day, and I'm sure is a situation that many listeners can relate to. Let's get right to it. I'm sick of looking at this wide angle, everything in focus, perspective distorted view. My inner lens nerd yearns for something better. I listen to your podcast enough to know that I'm probably a Fuji camera user. Despite not owning one, I'm primarily a film shooter, so I'm inclined to go in the direction to adapt my primarily LTM and Leica M glass. But I wonder if I should be looking at a micro four thirds camera and adapting a C-mount lens to them for this purpose. Which way would you guys go if you were doing this for the first time? I'd appreciate your thoughts on the matter. Best, James. Well, James, we have an expert here to address exactly this question for you. Do we not, Mr. Simon?
Well, I've done it. The bit where I'm thrown on this one is how well or how easily you can do it with a Fuji, because ultimately you need there's two ways I can think of using your camera for as a webcam. There's the way I do it, which is using a host of free software that are never designed to work with each other, and then somehow make them work. And then there's the other way where you've actually got some dedicated software that's designed for your camera, and it's almost like plug and play. The
all the Fujis all the newer Fujis will do that. They will you can tether them. So
right, and that's really the key to my way of doing it as well, because my way is via tethering. So if you can do tethered capture, so that if you've got your camera connected to your computer, if you can actually see on your monitor what the camera is seeing, then you can use that as a webcam. Like I say, you have to jump through a few hoops on how to do that, but it is absolutely possible. Like all things, sensor size is going to play a part in this, because if you're gonna use a crop sensor camera, then you're going to be restricted potentially in what lenses are going to be available to you, unless of course you do go down the route of adapting some C-mount lenses, which has been said here, because for instance, I find that a 58 millimeter lens on my Sony full frame as a webcam is perfect for what I actually need it to do, and that's at 2.8. So you're going to have to be at a 28 millimeter lens possibly, which generally speaking are slower lenses. So 28 2.8, you're going to have plenty. If you actually want selective focus, which sounds like you do, then using a wider angle lens is going to make that job harder unless you're using a fast wide angle lens. Whereas I suppose if you go with the Micro Four Thirds and you go with the C-mount lens, then a lot of those lenses are actually very, very fast to start off with, even though they're relatively short focal lengths, but you're using a smaller sensor. So it's I would say calculate the angle of view that you require and then work out what lens is actually going to do that job, and will it be fast enough to blur out the background. That's my advice.
I love that idea of using C-mount lenses, because you can get some pretty just funky looks as well. It's good advice.
Cool.
Okay.
I seem to be at the end of the email list. Is that possible?
No, it's not possible. It's
okay,
not possible.
Good.
No,
I didn't think so. So
no, and the reason why it's clearly not possible is that there was a bit of a reaction to last week's show.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
So
because if you remember,
along here.
Sorry, say again.
Did you send something along here, Simon, or are you just going to review it?
Oh, I'm going to send. I'll send over the next section to you both very, very shortly.
Okay.
But before I do that, I just explain to our listener, and that is we had a complaint last week which we read out, which pretty much we lost a listener because of Mike Gutterman. Let's not put too fine a point on it, and Mike reacted to that, and he did a face cast on his in his negative positives group, and there are a few comments that came from that, and some people interpreted the way that we did that show as throwing Mike under the bus quite correctly, because it was everything that has been going wrong in this show for the last 6 weeks has been Mike Gutterman's fault. And we made that quite clear. Mike suggested that the collective might, the Negative Positives Film Photography Podcast Facebook group, should get in touch with us by email. And it's famous that we do read out just about everybody. Oh, sorry about that.
Hey, Flynn.
Yeah, that's Flynn. That we do read out all the emails, whether they're praising us or not, and I'm just going to send over the tranche of emails now to you guys live, and here we go. So so Johnny, would you if you've got your email open there, I've just sent over this section.
Before we pop into that, I want to just say very quickly, because I saw this comment this morning when I got up, and it's from James Cleveland, who we just read an email from. And James is commenting in the Facebook group post for episode 135, and he's saying, "Let's go to the tape, gentlemen. Fiero Gate started because Johnny asked exactly how many of your children were conceived in the Fiero, at which point Gutterman demurred, but was encouraged towards the precipice of crudity by none other than Mr. Johnny Sisson. Mike is innocent here. James is 100% correct with this comment. He's 100% correct. So I think for, again, Jeremy North to be, because he says earlier up a couple comments up from this, he's again blaming it all. He's saying that we admitted it was Mike's fault. I mean, obviously we're kidding about that, because quite obviously we encouraged Mike when he came on this show to open up the doors of crudity. So, he's only doing what we asked him to do as a guest on the show.
Okay. Well,
what are you
are we ready? Are we ready to do the section of Mike Gutterman support emails?
Certainly. Where are those?
You should have that now.
In email or where?
Yeah. I've emailed it to you. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. There's one here. I have one fresh email from Gary South. Subject: more Gunnerman.
That'll be Jerry.
Jerry. Okay. Jerry with a G. Like Jerry, like Jeff. Not Jerry like GIF. Jerry South says, more Guttermen, a breath of fresh air, and some down-to-earth talk. More, please, Jerry. So there we go. That's one. Now, is there?
I don't think Jerry is the proper opposite of Jeremy. Just saying.
Right. So, and that's it.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. So we're at the end of that section now of support emails for Mike Gutterman.
I see where you went there now. Yeah. Now I got it.
Right. So have you got any shout outs this week, Perry?
Oh, I don't think so. Come back to me. Let me think about this. I know I should think about this every show, but I always forget.
Yeah. Johnny, have you got any shout outs this week?
I have same answer as Perry. I should think about it, but I can't.
I've got the same answer as both of you. So we're now back to Perry. This is your chance. Otherwise, you're going to have to say how people can keep in touch with you.
No, I don't have any shout outs this week. So yeah, you can find me on Flickr and Instagram at Perry G, and I will start posting some photos again soon once I've got Fixer to develop my film.
Cool. And Johnny, how can people keep up with the things you get up to?
I'm not doing anything that anyone can keep up with at the moment, but you could visit one of my many unused Instagram properties. The most recent being Second City Auto. So you can check out all three of my photos there.
Okay. And we've mentioned Best Vintage Lens, but should we mention it again?
Yes, we should. So Best Vintage Lens is, of course, our Instagram partner. So check them out over there. They post all kinds of pictures all the time from vintage lenses. So check that out. Should I do the whole thing? All right, we'll do the whole thing right now. So in addition to doing that, you should send us emails, which we have proven yet again that we will read at some point in time. You can send those to classiclensespodcast@gmail.com. You can check out the podcast website at classiclensespodcast.com. You can get swag there as well. So be sure to grab yourself a hat or a t-shirt or something while you're there. Or some stickers. We have stickers too. We have underwear. Did I mention that we have underwear? We also have underwear. What else do we have over there? Oh, we have beanbag chairs. Do you guys even know we have a beanbag chair?
We do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we have a beanbag chair. Classic Lenses Podcast beanbag listening chair is available for purchase in the Classic Lenses Podcast shop. So check that out. What else? I've completely lost my train of thought.
Have we done emails? As in how to get in touch with us?
I just did that.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Yeah, just did that. Yeah. And then I started talking about beanbag chairs, and now I've drawn a complete blank as to everything else we do. Oh, no, I haven't. You can find us on YouTube. You can look us up at Classic Lenses Podcast on YouTube, and you can watch the subtitles and listen to the show. You can do that. You can... What else can they do?
Oh, don't forget to, in the show notes or the Facebook group, click on that BBC article link with a picture of the tree, which I'm posting into our Facebook group right now, and use that background for some sweet bokeh.
Yeah, there you go.
God, you guys have got me mispronouncing bokeh.
I know.
What the hell?
Yeah, we're not even saying Bokeh. We're not even saying it right.
Yeah.
No.
It's a Japanese word.
Or ufta.
Or Ufta, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
We're off our game today.
Okay, well, I just want to say thank you to our coffee donor of this week, which is Nigel Cliff. And it says, well, at least your socially distant shows will save me a few quid. Well, we've done 2 weeks on the trot now, Nigel. So there you go. Thank you very, very much. Okay, is there anything else you want to get off the chest before I sign off? No?
I feel like there is, but
yeah, there always is. But there you go. Yeah. Next time we'll be back.
I thought we were going to talk about. Oh no, we weren't going to read that one about Wisconsin. Never mind. Never mind. We weren't going to read that email about people from Wisconsin being racist dimwits.
Yeah, but we won't. We're not going to offend anybody this
No, we don't want to offend anyone.
No,
so
no. And they voted the right way as well. So really, you should really moderate your tone.
Yeah, you know what they did, but I'm not going to really give them any credit for that because it was just better voter turnout in the places that aren't full of racist dimwits. The racist dimwits still voted for Trump.
Yeah, okay.
So, but that's okay because COVID is raging through Trump land. So the MAGA remover is in full force in America, baby. 2021. It's a fresh new start with fewer racists.
And you can find me on Twitter as Simon4. I'm on Instagram as Simon Forster Photographic, which is also the name of my website, simonforsterphotographic.co.uk, where you can buy all those wonderful lens caps, front lens caps, and also you can get in touch with me there if you've got a lens that you wish to have a cap for. I'm talking more about front caps rather than if you've got some weird lens that needs a rear lens cap. I will get round to all of those, but I need to own them first. Whereas front lens caps, I just need dimensions and I can just make those for you. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this week's show, and if you can, be like KARL.
Love you, Indiana.